y'all?
Yes, I'm so glad to have you with us. You're definitely a young man who just seems to be operating in beast mode. So we definitely can't wait to dig in and just let you tell us your story. So I just want everyone to know this young man, he just happens to be a guy that has taken his faith and just transitioned it from a noun to a verb, and he's taking action and he's doing so many things. But before he got to where he's at, there's a story that comes with it. And so being that December, this month is all about motivation and changing mindset. It may be the last month of the year, but it's going to be the first month of a new season. So, Derek, I mean, we had just, we talked back and forth just about different things that you're working on, and I'm so happy to be a part of just, you know, your journey and being able to witness it from a distance, and I love your following. And so I mean, I do have some information just about your background. Is it okay if I go ahead and just share that?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. I'm not at this point. My background, my past is a part of me, and I wouldn't be who I was today without it. So feel free to go ahead and expose me.
Definitely, most definitely. So, I mean, I'm just saying, they say out of every pain, a purpose is born. And so with that, I mean, just from your birth, the struggle was on.
Yeah.
And from what I've come to understand, just in regards to how things took place with you, your mom was about 45. She had her tubes tied. And then she got pregnant with twins. So,
yeah.
I mean, so who would have thought that? But instead of, you know, just declaring that as an accident or mistake, you know, she felt blessed, and she spoke into your life as well as your twins' life. And you were her miracle babies, and miracle babies of greatness.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
So far it seems that, you know, you have went on to just be an awesome person. You were an exceptional athlete, and you were one of the top students, if I have it correct.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I mean, you know, high school is easy. High school is the easy part of life, so any kids listening, man, enjoy it now. That's all I got to say.
Wow, so you were one of the top students, I have it correct as well. You received, you know, an academic scholarship. So, you know, and that seemed like everything was, you know, pretty solid. That was until about, you know, you were about 18, and then you became a father. Wow, like
yeah.
how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. This is it. You know, like I always feel like that life really don't start until you start like facing something. You know what I mean? So like I said, high school is easy. You go to school for the most part. If you just attend, you know, just make it to school, you're gonna be all right. You know what I mean? But being that I do come from a home, and I had, you know, my dad wasn't around much, but that's, you know, that's typical nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, people say I don't got a dad. It's like, all right, cool. Nobody has one, so you can't use it as an excuse. You feel me? But my mom was just excellent at just breathing life, like you said, into me and my brother. So, you know, going from I mean, having extreme expectations. You know what I mean? From on the route I was on. You know what I mean? Mom expected me to go to college and, you know, graduated college in the 4 years and, you know, go on to be, you know, successful. In fact, my graduating year, I was voted most likely to succeed. You feel me? So, I mean, talk about, it wasn't so much pressure. I feel like I was just doing what I was supposed to do. So, of course, when you come from that, you know, like I said, you come from such a high, and then you enter a point of bringing a whole nother being into existence. It freaks you out. You know, for me, it freaked me out. Like, it definitely took me in the tailspin. It took the whole 9 months. In fact, when I had my daughter, to be real with you, like, it still was surreal. Like, she was like 2, and I still was like getting used to the idea of being a dad. Like, I had to be accountable for somebody else. You know what I mean? So, I mean, as far as handling it and deal with it, I didn't. I think that might have been the issue. You know what I mean? I really deal with it. It kind of just happened. At that point in my life, I was kind of just a reaction to stuff. Like, all right, stuff is happening to me. My idea was everything's happening to me. You know what I mean? Opposed to what I know now is realistically everything was happening for me. That one word, 2 and 4, just making that replacement kind of just put me in a whole different mindset and the perspective of life to where I didn't have to be such a victim to everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. And parent to parent, I get it. I'm there with you. We share some similarities when it comes to that. So I definitely understand just that pressure you feel when you're a teen and you become a parent. And
man, it's real, huh?
So just real. What are you talking about? So just in regards to that, though, it seems like at that point, some things started to take place. Like your life started to turn. And so the story goes a lot deeper than just becoming a teen father.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, from there, one thing I did know, like I said, when you come from being a young man, being a man in general, you know what I mean? The title comes with responsibility. And the problem is not necessarily the responsibility, it's not knowing the responsibility. You feel me? Like a lot of dudes don't really know how to be a man, and I was definitely included. To be like, I didn't expect to have my daughter. It wasn't a planned pregnancy. It just happened. It just came out of nowhere. I'm not embarrassed about it. In fact, I almost feel like my daughter is exactly how I was. She was a blessing. She's a miracle child for me specifically. You know what I mean? And encountering that in general definitely changed my life. But the problem is not because I didn't have a dad. I didn't have a male, role model to be around to kind of to a certain extent guide me. You know what I mean? And this is the thing I learned about being a parent too. Is I know my mom, and even now I do what I go and I tell, hey son, I have a son and a daughter. I'll be like, hey, don't do this and don't do that. You know what I mean? And one thing I realize is what I say is really important, but what's more important, as far as teaching your children is what you do. So when you have that absence of not having a male figure, like I said, a father figure, whatever it is may be around, you don't really know what to do. There's no how-to book. Like, they do have how-to books, how to be a man, but you really don't know exactly how to until you encounter some of these issues. You encounter, like, having to have a job, and when you get laid off, and when bills are due on Friday, but you don't get paid till Saturday, like, you really don't know. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you got to learn on the job consistently. So for me, like I said, I got presented with that. I was already dealing with I was going through a depression because, again, when you have that high expectation, they always say, man, I heard somebody say a long time ago, they say, the only thing that when your expectation doesn't meet your reality, it equates to depression. And I didn't really know. One thing about me is I'm a confident guy. Man, even back then I was low-key arrogant. You know what I mean? But I never wanted to admit that I was depressed. Like, that was a big thing. I had too much, I was too revolving around self, or just too prideful to say, hey, D, you depressed. And you know what? Realistically, I thought it was me trying to be strong. But the problem is when people don't embrace a problem or embrace an issue, you can't fix it. You can't fix something if you don't know it's broke. You know what I mean? Like, if the light don't flash in your car and say, hey, dude, you got a flat tire, you could be rumbling on the thing all day, but without that notification, hey, you just going to keep rolling, and eventually the whole car going to break down. So that was my issue. So for the most part, I end up falling into the pressure of having to provide for a family. Like, again, my whole 9 months, all I kept thinking was, hey, I got to feed the family. I got to feed the family. You know what I mean? And one thing about babies, one thing about kids is they don't care about your low self-esteem. They don't care about what kind of problems, what kind of issues you got going on. All they know is I need a bottle with formula in it, and I'm like, I need it now. I'm hungry. You know what I mean? So if you don't figure out a way to put food on the table, then, like I said, people don't care about all the excuses. They care about results. And babies are like, hey, I need to eat. So what ends up happening is when I actually go and I end up getting arrested on some charges of, man, just me trying to make it. You know what I mean? Up to about, man, but this time maybe about 19, I had never went to a job interview and not got the job, like, ever. You know what I mean? So I would go in, boom, I would go in. Like, when you're chosen, when you're gifted, when you're blessed, you always find success. No matter where you go, you think it is you know what I mean? But really, it's just you chosen. When God picked you out of the bunch, you know what I mean? Many are called, few are chosen. Hey, you're going to find success whether you like it or not. So I go, and I started trying to figure out how to make it and start tapping into other ways of how to, put food on the table. So I ended up getting arrested, you know what I mean? And that was a whole ordeal in itself.
Got you. And it's definitely, a blessing just to be able to, for us to just sit and have this conversation and you just to go in and start to share, like, parts of it. And so I know you were talking about taking care of your family, and I know there are a lot of people that are following you now and follow a lot of the motivational things that you post from your page and from Facebook and different other platforms, because you're on the scene a lot, but there are still just some things about your story that they just don't know. Like, you actually were married.
Right. Yeah, I got married at a pretty young age. What ends up happening? See, this is crazy. This is what I low key, and I feel like every guy, for the most, not every guy, but most guys have some type of commitment issues. Actually, why I have no idea. It can stem from all kind of issues. You know what I mean? Me, I was that guy. Look, if I didn't have enough to pay for it cash, I wasn't buying it. You know what I mean? Every car up to this point, I had bought cash because I didn't want to sign no contracts, nothing. So when you asking me to commit to a whole person, a woman, like, it had to be something devastating, powerful, impactful for me to say, hey, this the one. You know what I mean? Like, even now to this day, I haven't been in, like, I maybe have been in like 2, 3 major, like, I can say that's actually my girlfriend, that's actually my wife. I've been in maybe 3 relationships. I'm 29, 3 relationships. You can do the math. That's some big gaps, So what happens is I'm incarcerated, and over this period, I mean, it was probably like 7 years consecutively where I had went and I pretty much had spent time in jail, like 7 years. You know what I mean? And you watch. I mean, one thing about it is when you get incarcerated and you get behind bars and freedom is taken away from you for as a consequence of what you did, you start to realize, you start to see who's really there for you. You know what I mean? So at the time, I'm young, and I'm going to be honest with anybody who's ever been incarcerated, every guy, every woman who's ever been incarcerated, no, most guys, the number one thing that they're concerned about is going to be their girlfriend or boyfriend, well, in this case, girlfriend or wife, their family, and how, the maintenance of it. Are they financially stable? You know what I mean? But the number one thing is from a girlfriend. Dudes stress all day. They get in the shower thinking about that girl. Get out the shower thinking about that girl. They want to talk on the phone. It's all about that woman. Well, when I got incarcerated, I didn't have that fear. Like, I didn't have that fear at all. I mean, if there was a visitation, she was there. I had a letter every single day. I mean, we had grown more when I was inside incarcerated than we ever have when we were outside. So when I get out, you do that kind of time and you see how loyal somebody is. It wasn't, there's love. After the loyalty created the love. You know what I mean? I would never say there was an initial love factor, but the loyalty that, like, kind of opens your eyes to, like, man, hey, I mean, they held it down. You know what I mean? There was times where, I'll be honest with you, I had grown marijuana at one time. The one thing I said is I've never been able to be an average guy. So I remember growing marijuana, and it started off at one plant, and I started, trying to purchase, like, drugs or something from another person. I said, look, I can't do this. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it big. So I ended up having this big experience. And I remember going to my ex at the time, when I was married, and she said, this is stupid. Guys, listen to me. Sometimes when your woman is right. I wish I would have listened to her then, you know what I mean? But she said, this is stupid. Then she said, what do you want me to do? At the time, this is the type of woman I was dealing with. So when you have somebody that loyal to you, like, it's almost like stupid. It's almost dumb if you don't marry, if you don't cherish what you have. So I get out, I go and I marry her just off of pure loyalty. There was no other reason. I mean, don't get me wrong. Beautiful girl, you know what I mean? But it was solely off of loyalties when I go and get married.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And at that time, like I said, jail did, like, being incarcerated did so much to me. I grew up kind of knowing about God, but you don't really, I feel like he was building my testimony at the time. You know what I mean? He was building, sometimes I feel like God will come through and he wants you to know, hey, you ain't going to get out of this. But, well, not necessarily you ain't going to get out of this, but when you do get out of this, I need you to know it was me. You know what I mean? Because for me, I had been beating my own chest for a minute. You know, Derek was good on the football field. Derek was great at basketball. Derek was the best salesman. Derek graduated top 10%. It was me. You know, King Kong got nothing on me. I was that dude. You know what I mean? Not knowing that, hey, really, hey, boy, he was kind of saying, boy, hey, you think it's you, but really the only reason the only reason you could do D is because, hey, I gave you the gift. It's me. So being incarcerated, he took me away from everything, the world, the family, the mama. Mama couldn't save you. Daddy couldn't bail you out. You know what I mean? Like that. Eventually, that's what it took. You know, it got real when I go to a judge. I've been incarcerated a few times, but nothing really clicked for me until I go and you go through the jail process. You go to what they call pretrial. You sit in front of a judge. I remember going in front of a judge, and at that point, I had always been able to get out, no matter what it was. The consequence, I always been able to pay my way out. You know, like I said, I have the most wonderful mom in the world. She's my superhero, my mom. You know, and it's almost like she's not human because her attributes that she has when it comes to unconditional love. I mean, she had been through so much as a parent, and she still maintained it. You know what I mean? But this one time, I remember going in front of a judge, and the judge said, you know, he's looking at your record, you've got priors, and the judge says, all right, I'm waiting for a bond because at some certain point you have to go and actually have to a bond hearing. And the judge says, all right, Mr. Martin, no bond, and the bailiff come take you away. So I'm sitting there like, wait, like, what you say? What you mean no bond? Like, wait, huh? You know, I'm like, it's almost like they said, boy, you can charge a murder. For me, because it felt like life. It felt like I was like, the one thing that scares people now, I feel like more than anything, is the unknown. So when you in a place like incarceration, you in jail, and you in a, you know, inside a cage, and you don't know when you're going to get out, it freaks you out. It's because you are completely out of control. Like, you have no control of your destiny at all, or at least you don't know when. You know, it'd be cool if they say, hey, you got 2 years. At least you know you can start the countdown, and, you know, each day you get closer. But they say no bond, and you don't know when the trial is going to be over, man, you mentally, you freak out. So me being out of control of everything my whole entire life, I had no choice but to fall onto faith. Realistically, like there's like every other option had been removed because up to this point I had somewhere to go. You know, like I can do this, I can pull this move, I can get this money from here, this. But at this point, it was like God was saying, nah, you can't get yourself out of it. Like it's only gonna be me. So you can turn to me or you can stay here. So I end up sitting in there. I end up just being in jail, not knowing. But while I was in jail, like while I was there, it was so, like I had went through so much. You know, I've never been gang affiliated. You know, in the Texas prison system down here, everything is about people, just like naturally in society. You know, we all go, we try to be drawn to numbers. You know, well, in prison, in jail, people join gangs oftentimes because they want to be a part of something, and it's also for protection. You know, because you in there with thousands of inmates. So having said you versus 1,000, you're going to lose every single time. But if you have you and maybe 10 of some other people that have some kind of, you know, similarity with you, okay, you got a chance. Well, I come in and I'm not gang affiliated at all, and I refuse to join the gang. I'm not joining the gang. It's not going to happen. Whatever is going to happen, hey, it's going to go down. And my brother had been incarcerated before, so he says, hey, D, this is how you handle this situation. He said, whenever somebody messes with you, see, this is why you should, how the Bible say, watch the people you listen to, don't consult unwise people. He said, D, if somebody try to mess with you, beat them up on sight. I said, what? He said, hey, just beat them up. Well, at this point, like I said, in life, I to be real with you, we handled everything with a physical fight. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't like you, we're gonna fight. Oh, this, we're gonna fight. Like there wasn't any communication, you know, and that's why, you know, when you're dealing with an immature or weak-minded person, when they can't talk something out. If you fighting every single time, man, you got some issues. You know what I mean? So I said, all right, cool. So I go in jail the first day. A week go by, 2 weeks go by, a month go by. I call back, I call my mom, talk to my brother. I'm like, bro, nothing happened. He said, man, it's gonna happen. Trust me, they're gonna test you. They want to see what you made out of. It's gonna happen. A month goes by, 2 months, 3 months go by, and nothing's happening. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, bro, nothing. I'm sitting there, everybody in here just doing their time. You know what I mean? Everybody in here doing their time, and nobody's messing with you. You know, low-key, he said, nah, bro, they probably scared of you. Now, mind you, like I said, I'm 19 years old. 19, about to be 20 years old. I'm 160 pounds, soaking wet on a good day. You know what I mean? On a good day. And I'm in there with grown guerrilla men that work out on a regular basis. I mean, in jail, there ain't a lot to do with it. You work out, you eat, you go to sleep. Like, that's pretty much all the options. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting in, I had the nerve to think that they were afraid of me. You know what I mean? Man, so tell me why when I finally got out. I finally go out, man. I went there, and the only thing I did while I was in there is I picked up a Bible because that was the only thing that I felt secure in. And I picked up a Bible. I didn't work out. I didn't, play. I had activities and certain stuff you could do. I didn't do nothing but read my Bible because my whole idea was when I get out, I want to make sure that I never come back. It was a fear thing. I was fear motivated. I just want to make sure I never came back. And for me, everything else I had tried failed. So I said, man, this Bible got to have something to it. So I remember coming out. The only thing I left with nothing but a Bible. I walked out. And I remember this guy, dude is maybe like 6'4", had to be at least 250 pounds. Dude, he's a stallion. He's muscular. I mean, he's an older guy, been incarcerated forever. You know what I mean? And I'm walking out, and he says, hey, young bloods. At this time, they call all the younger kids youngster, young blood. He said, hey, young blood, let me holler at you real quick. So I tiptoed over there. You know what I mean? Low, kind of scared, to be honest with you, because he's a huge dude. You know what I mean? So he comes up, and he said, hey, keep doing what you're doing. So I'm kind of looking at him like, what is he talking about? He says, keep doing what you're doing. Stay in that word right there because you don't belong here. He said, you don't belong here. I said, all right, yes, sir. And I turned around. He said, one more thing. I said, I turned around, trying to be respectful because, like I said, dude is big, huge. I mean, it's a boulder. He's a boulder. And he was like, hey, and the reason that we stayed off you was because of that word. He said, because of that Bible right there. I said, all right, and I walked out. So I'm telling you, the whole time I was in there, I'm thinking these dudes scared of me. And that's when I realized for the first time in my life, it don't matter if you in a prison yard. It don't matter if you in a corporate space. It don't matter if you in Houston, Detroit, L.A., God gonna get his respect no matter where you are. It wasn't me. That wasn't scared of me. They just was respecting that I was in God's word. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. And ever since from that moment, I was like, okay, the recurring lesson in life was, hey, if God ain't in it, it's not gonna work. You see what I'm saying?
Wow. So, I mean, just the visual of listening to what you were saying, and I mean, I get it. Like, you're like, hey, I'm in this place. I don't think I'm nothing to be scared of. But, still even then, like, the God in you was shining bigger and he's greater. He's greater than anything. And so for that, he kept you covered. He kept you covered while you were in there.
Right. And the thing is, even at the time, it was I was talking out of pure arrogance. You know what I mean? I was just out of pride because I actually thought, I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought that they were scared of me. Like I literally thought, hey, little old me, being so naive, I thought, hey, they not messing with me because they scared of me. And then when I left, I remember exiting out, and he told me, I was like, it was like, dude, like if you don't get it by now, dude, it's not about you. You know what I mean? And that actually started the transition in my life. It started to change in my life whenever I was, it was almost like a little glimpse, like a foreshadowing, you know what I mean, of what was to come. And, but it definitely moved me in a way that, even to this day, like I still think back to that one moment, right now.
And so when you came out, what was one of the first things that you did? Like, how did you go in to start picking up the pieces of, hey, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not going back. Because I heard you say you made a vow to yourself and pretty much a vow to God. Like, I'm not going back. I got my Bible. I got my word.
Right.
So I'm walking out of here, but I'm walking into a whole new life, and I'm walking into my purpose and into my destiny. So what started to happen, or what started to take place after you came out?
Well, I mean, and this is the thing, I think that being incarcerated planted the seed. You know what? It kind of brought something out of me that I didn't know I had. Or technically, it's like I always feel like, man, your purpose. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a gift. But a lot of times, it's like it's either hidden or you don't even recognize it because it's so natural to you. It's something that you do on a regular basis, and you don't even know you're doing. You don't even know it's unique to who you are. But what ends up happening when I got locked up was anybody who's ever been incarcerated before, and that's every single night, criminal or not, murderer, rapist, it doesn't matter what you are, we always have a prayer circle at night, So we have this prayer circle, and we say a few words, you know what I mean, and then we pray, or whatever it may be. The first thing I did was go to that prayer circle, because I knew at that point I knew, hey, I can't get out of this by myself. So I go to the prayer circle. What ends up happening is I end up fellowshipping with a few other guys within our pod. Every Wednesday, there was almost like church. Wednesday and Sunday, a pastor, a missionary, someone would come in and share a message with us, So what happens while I'm in there is one day nobody came. A Wednesday, nobody came. So we sitting there, we kind of waiting on the message, because at this point, we lingering on every single word. The only thing some people had at this point was that missionary coming on Wednesday, so they could, so we could get out, so we could talk, so we could feel like a human to a certain extent. You know what I mean? And then the word itself was filling us up. So he didn't come, so we all sitting there, we're panicking, like, man, like what we gonna do now? So a friend of mine, he says, hey, D, won't you go up there and talk? You always in that Bible, you always in that word. I'm like, and I'm looking at myself, I'm like, man, bro, I'm like, I'm just an inmate, just like y'all. Like, who am I to go up there and speak anything, let alone about God? You know what I mean? Like, dude, I make the same mistakes y'all made. You know what I mean? He said, man, just go up there and do your thing. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I pick up my Bible, I go up there and just start talking. And man, 20 minutes go by, and I'm done, and everybody's clapping and, showing me this praise like I've done something special. So I'm walking back. I remember walking back to my pod to where we were, and this guy, dude, and I remember it was a Hispanic guy, and he face full of tattoos, and I'm pretty sure he was gang affiliated. And he walks up to me, so I'm thinking in my head, okay, this is the time. We're gonna get into it. You know what I mean? We're about to fight. This is the fight I've been waiting for. And the guy taps me on the shoulder. I turn around, and I almost punched him. And he says, "No, man." He said, "I just want to tell you there's something you said up there that touched me." I'm thinking, touch you? I didn't touch you at all, bro. I was just speaking. He said, "No, bro, not touch me physically, but it touched my heart." So I just wanted to say thank you. So the first time I ever spoke in front of people technically was inside prison. So when I got out, now I know this is the first time I'm recognizing, hey, maybe you got something. Maybe your story can help somebody. Maybe you running your mouth ain't really you running your mouth. Maybe you actually got a gift. So I get out in the back of my head, I know, hey, God done gave you this gifting to go and spread His word, But at the same time, I didn't know how. I knew when I got out, first thing I did was I got mad. I wanted to get right in that cat. I said, man, you know what? I don't want to sin no more. I want to be living right. I was trying to, being a baby in Christ is so different because, you don't know better about certain stuff. You know what I mean? So I get mad. First thing I did. And then the second thing I want to do is mentally in my head, I said, hey, I'm going to give myself to God, but first let me make this money. Let me get some money. I need some money real quick. You know what I mean? So I go, try to find a job. And again, like I said, I had never been rejected from a job in my life, ever. You know what I mean? So I'm going to interview after interview after interview, and they giving me the job. They giving me, hey, Mr. Martin, we'll see you on Wednesday. We just need you to take this drug test, and we need you to fill out this waiver so we can get your background in. I'm thinking, no problem. I go work on a job for 2 days. 2 days later, the boss comes in. Hey, Mr. Martin, can I see you real quick? Yes, sir. Go in the office. Hey, man, you're doing an excellent job here. We really we're happy to have you, but I'm sorry, we're gonna have to let you go. So what? Why? It was like, we just got your background check here, and we can't hire you. So imagine going through this 20, 30, 40 times. I mean, I'm getting hit with a rejection I ain't never felt ever. Ever. You know what I mean? I'm going to jobs, getting the job, and they wanted to hire me, but I couldn't because I had a background, because of priors. So now, this is one time in my life where I started feeling bad, depressed. And again, going back to the original thought, one thing about kids, one thing about responsibility. Now instead of having one child, I had two. By this time, my son was here, and the pressure was on. The pressure was definitely on to make something happen. Because again, like they said, they don't care about you having a background. All they know, hey, it's time to eat. You know, we gotta eat. We gotta eat. So I go, and I put the whole purpose, I put the whole calling in the background, because again, I gotta make some money. You know what I mean? I worked at some car dealerships. I always worked in sales. Even the jobs I had, I always was talking. You know, I always was communicating with people, because I love people. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like humanity and helping people is just a part of me. Like, that's just it. You know what I mean? So I always find success in it. And I finally get a chance, an opportunity at a place down here in Sugar Land. Sugar Land is called Bill Hurt Chevrolet. And if anybody knew, Bill Hurt Chevrolet was the 5th largest dealership in the nation. So I'm talking about, this is like miles and miles of cars. You know what I mean? So from a sales perspective, it was good, but it also, they call it the jungle. Because, you know, if you got a big car dealership, guess what else you got? You got a lot of salesmen. I'm talking about hundreds of salesmen. We probably had like 100 salesmen. Right. So major competition. And one thing I've known is, you know, they always say the competition brings the best out of you. But being here taught me so much about life. You know, this is my first time I get a mentor. I had a guy's name was Reed Bond, and he was the general manager at the dealership. And he really, I'm talking about, when it came to, when it came to salesmanship, when it came to presentation, when it almost came to just being a man and just giving me general, like, ideas and concepts about being a man, he taught me everything. At the time, I had braids. He had me go cut my hair. You know, I remember saying, I'm not cutting my hair. This is me. But, you know, again, I had the kids, and I went home, come back with a haircut. He said, you're serious, huh, son? I'm like, yes, sir, I'm serious. So he goes and he teach me salesmanship and really the principle of value. You know, he coined this phrase, hey, people will purchase anything from you as long as you present value. You know what I mean? He said, we go around, we purchase diamonds all the time. Why? I said, man, I don't know. I don't have a real diamond. He said, man, people purchase diamonds, which are technically rocks, because we say they're valuable. You know what I mean? But they just rocks. I said, man, I never thought about it like that. He said, so no matter what you do, man, if you present value to people, a reason for them to listen to you, a reason for them to purchase from you, just value in general, hey, they always, whatever you trying to accomplish will always happen. I said, man, I never thought about that, dude. You know, so I go and I start working here. And this is the first time, the first year I worked with him, I made $100,000. I never had made that kind of money before. $100,000, right? So check this out. This is how God works sometimes. One thing I learned again, hey, God, no matter where you are, you always gonna be successful when God in it. When he blessed you, when you gifted, and you using your gift, you always gonna find success, no matter what. But the thing is he wanted me to remember, hey, bro, don't forget about what I got for you though. So check this out. I go, Bill Hurt Chevrolet, a year later, after I just made it, first time I ever made $100,000 in my life, closes down. I'm talking about, we came to work one day and all the doors was locked, like out of nowhere, just out of nowhere. Yeah. So you have hundreds of people sitting in the dealership, and it's just like, we don't know what, we didn't get no answers. Later on, they filed bankruptcy, and it was just a lot of stuff going on. But I thank God for it, because even though I was selling cars at the time, my spirit wasn't right. You know, because I always, you know, technically in the car industry, you make your money based on how much technically you get over on a person. So you can sell if you could present enough value for. So I sold a Cobalt one time for like $35,000. Now anybody know the price of a Cobalt? That's you know what I mean. We like $15,000 over the market price. You see what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there, and you know, it's like, wow. You get your check, you're like, wow. But then you sold, like, anybody who has any type of integrity of God in you and the Spirit talking, you like, hey, this ain't right. You know, you start thinking, man, this is not right. I'm not helping people no more. This is not. You know, I'm great at my job, but I'm not helping people. So, you know, I was thankful that God closed that door for me and allowed it to happen, because it wasn't for me. You know what I mean? So, but again, now I'm jobless. I'm jobless again. So I was going, I mean, this happened numerous times where I was bouncing from job to job to job, and whatever job I was at, I was successful at it, but it wasn't the job that God wanted me to do. So what ends up happening eventually is, you know, I go, and to be honest with you, he always made a way for me. I remember I go and I'm working at a spot, and long story short, man, I ended up being in this house that was a huge house, man. Down in, houses in Houston are pretty big anyways, but I ended up being in a house and having a house that I should have never, I had never imagined, never imagined. I'm working, at this spot, and I meet a guy. His name is Michael Franco, worked in the oil industry. And, I'm with my wife and my kids, and we're making it. Legally, we're making it. We ain't doing nothing bad. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, it'll always unsettle you. And I remember my wife at the time, she said, I want a house. I said, look, baby, every man don't want to disappoint his wife, just to be honest with you. Not when you really love your wife, you don't want to disappoint her. So, hey, look, baby, hey, give me a couple years. I'll get you the house. I'll get you the house. But we gotta be patient, So either way, the next day after we have this whole patient conversation about the house, I get a phone call at work. Hey, we go and look at the house. I'm like, what? Then we just had a conversation that I couldn't afford the house. He like, no. She like, yeah, we're gonna look at the house. I'm like, bro, how did we get here? What happened? She was at work. Girls do stuff different. Women, and I have to learn. Men and women are so different. You know what I mean? She said she wanted a house. Women they go look at the house. They look at the Zillow, they real estate, and everything. They cut out pictures or whatever. Well, she did this at work. Yeah, she did this at work, and her friend, this how I go at work, her friend or coworker came in and saw it. She said, yo, so y'all looking for a house? She tells the girl, hey, no, we're not looking for the house. This is just, me, we're going to get a house eventually. And I was just, kind of daydreaming. So the girl says, hey, my parents are selling their home. Won't y'all come look at it? She says, okay, yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm on the phone with my wife at this time, right? And again, I'm thinking how I'm going to break this woman's heart, because I know going and look at this house is a waste of both of our times. But whatever, I'll go look at it. So we got to go to work, get off of work, go pick her, we go pick up the kids. We all going to look at this house. Well, you Google stuff and you riding. You in the car, y'all got the music on, and we driving. And Houston is, most cities are segmented by, how much the financial districts. You kind of know what area you in. It's how much houses cost. It's how much houses cost. So we driving, we go through the hood or whatever, and I'm like, all right, cool. We drive and we get in the moderate price houses, and we driving, and I was 45 minutes. We on the outskirts of Houston in the suburbs. I said, man, we ain't there yet. Man, so eventually we get into a whole different part of Houston that I ain't really never seen before. So I'm like, man, the houses get bigger. The houses get the yards are getting more spread out. Eventually, I stopped saying houses, and they changed the term to estate. I said, man, we got to be in the wrong, we got to be looking at the wrong house. You know what I mean? So an hour later, we pull up to the house. Tell me why I pull up to, it looked like a miniature White House. It had columns in the front yard. It had a flagpole in the front. I was like, bro, we can't afford this. In my head, I'm thinking, we can't afford this. She can cry. She can do whatever she wants. I ain't even in the ballpark of this. You know what I mean? So we go, we get out I'm trying to be hospitable. We go out, we shake the man's hand or whatever. He says, all right, let's go look at the house, man. I get my kids out to go look at the house. We open the house and we get into a foyer. At the time, I didn't even know what a foyer was. A foyer? What? Is this what kind of room is this? You know what I mean? I didn't know what it was. We go into the foyer. The guy, I'm like, I'm already astonished. I'm like, this is beautiful. He's the owner of the house says, hey, I want to show you something big, and let the girls go look at that stuff or whatever. I want to show you something special. So we start walking in the house. The house is so big that eventually I can't even hear the girls. I can't hear my wife at this time. I can't hear his wife. The house is that big to where it was just I couldn't even hear an echo in the thing. You know what I mean? It was that big. So we turn a couple corners. We start going down, as far as elevation. And he takes me, 2 doors pop open, double doors, and he's a man. It's a man cave. And I don't mean just a room that you call a man cave. Man, I'm talking about, man, he had a pool table in the center of it. It had felt walls. It looked like a small bar in the middle of. It was the dude was a contractor. I didn't know that at the time. He was a contractor, and he had put so much money into this house. So it was me and him alone. I say, hey, this might be a good opportunity in my head. Tell him we can't afford it. So he says, man, so what do you think of the house? Which I thought was the dumbest question ever, because of course I like the house, bro. You know what I mean? Look at how crazy this house is. So I say, you know what, Mr. So-and-so, hey, beautiful house, gorgeous, but I can't afford it. I'm sorry, I appreciate your time, but we just can't afford it. So he says, all right, he said, well, what can you afford? How much do you pay right now? I was embarrassed to tell him the truth because I knew it wasn't nowhere near how much he was charging. So I was like, look, I was like, at this point, I said, man, you know what? We got like a 2-bedroom townhouse right now. We paying like $986. You know what I mean? And that's even a squeeze for us right now. So he says, all right, cool. So I started walking out. I was like, I'm gonna make my exit. He says, well, can you do 750? I said, 750 what? Like what do you mean 750? He said, well, can you do 750? I said, man, like, what's wrong? I'm thinking, what's wrong with the house? The foundation got to be bad. It's roach infested, termites, something. He said, no. He said, you can bring as many inspectors as you want. The house is good. He said, man, y'all. He said, I seen your family. Y'all got a good vibe. But he said, man, this is my second home. He said, all the rent that I get from you, we just gonna put it in a vacation fund. But he said, but I can afford to do this. You know what I mean? He said, I want to bless your family if you allow me to bless you. I said, man, if this ain't no trick. I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, cool. So we started walking back. It took 10 minutes to find like the house is that big where it took 10 minutes for me to find, the wife at the time and his wife and everything. And I go and we meet back at the foyer and she's sitting there glowing. I'm talking about like glowing, like, hey, already, I want the house. I knew it. You know what I mean? So the whole time I had kind of said, hey, I'm going to break her heart. You know what I mean? She said, can we have it or whatever? Anytime a man can tell his wife or woman that they can have the house of their dreams, like, you winning. So I said, yeah, we moved in the house maybe like a week later, and boom, 2 years after I got incarcerated, I was still on probation at the time. I'm sitting in this 5-bedroom house, like, with only half the house had furniture because we moved from a 2-bedroom. The other half was empty, but still it was like, how did I get here? It was surreal. You see what I'm saying? So it was like
right.
my whole life, I had been blessed. You know what I mean? It was like every turn, no matter how hard the struggle was, God always made sure, hey, look, no matter where you are, if you're doing what I need you to do, I got you. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. And so definitely what you got to do is you got to keep talking to me about this house, what happened next, and everything else, and where Growing with D is going, where Derek Martin is going. So what we're going to actually do right now is just go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back after this.
That's pretty cool.
I'm about that work. 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 Let's go. Not this time, I ain't giving up. No, yeah. Not this time, I ain't giving up. No, yeah. Not this time, I ain't giving up. No, yeah. Not this time, I ain't giving up. No, yeah. Get about my way. Better get about my way. Get about my way. Better get about my way. Get about my way. Better get about my way. Get about my way. Better get about my way. What up? What's happening? Okay. What's happening? 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 Let's go. This is pure motivation. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me what you waiting on. God, this is pure motivation. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me what you waiting on. Everything in life, I'ma go hard with it. 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 Push myself to the limit, no holding back. 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 Hands in the air, yeah, this is my moment. Hands in the air, yeah, this is my moment. Hands in the air, yeah, this is my moment. Hands in the air, yeah, this is my moment. Do damage, we do why you waiting. Tell me what you waiting on. Yeah, this is pure motivation. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me why you waiting. I mean what I say and I say what you waiting on. You gotta go get it, don't sit down now. You gotta go get it, don't sit down now. You gotta go get it, don't sit down now. You gotta go get it, don't sit down now.
And so we're back. And so Derek, you gotta go ahead and tell us, like, we get this house, everything is going great. So what's going on? We get the house, and where did the furniture didn't even fit the house, because you came from something smaller and you went to something bigger. And I mean, at this point, I can only imagine, like, even when he just said $750, you're probably like, $750 what? Like you said before, like $750 what? Like, do I owe you $750, or just what's
right.
What's going on? Like, what's going on with that? And so that definitely just shows you that sometimes you just never know, and sometimes things are just the way things are set up for us in life are way bigger than what we can imagine. And and I can definitely identify with it as you were talking about how you were just driving to the house and you were like, okay, smaller house, medium house, large house. Oh, okay, like we way out my league. Like in your mind, you had already started saying, like, okay, this is not going on. My pockets ain't even fitting this. Like, what we got?
Nope, not even close.
So yeah, you definitely got to tell us, like, so you get the house, you guys move in, you have your family. So just transition us from that to like where we at now, like what's like how we get from the house that we thought we wasn't gonna have, and the fairy tale story. I have the wife, I have the kids, and then there's still some transitions that take place, and then there's a major platform that everybody sees now, growing with D. But there's some things in between that, so you gotta take us there.
Most definitely. So this is what happens with the house, y'all. So I'm moving to the house. Like I said, I love how you said how you move from little to bigger. Yeah, it was definitely that transition. So, so right when I moved out, man, it was around my daughter's birthday. I remember it specifically because we had a party and we rented tables and stuff like that and chairs and, just had like a little barbecue at the time. And I go out, we invite families and friends over. And at the time, man, I think I mentioned him earlier, and then I had a friend, like a father figure named Michael. And this is crazy. One thing I realized is, man, not having a pops around, one thing I noticed is, whether you're a single mom or a single dad, I find that people always try to, when you don't have either dad or you don't have a mom, like mom try to be dad and mom, or dad try to be mom and dad because you're trying to, fill the absence, you're trying to do the most to overcompensate for the absence. And one thing, I learned, man, in life is God always find a way to make up the difference. You know what I mean? And he's always sent this male figure in my life to kind of replace the lack that I've had having my own, earthly father. I had this guy, Michael, man. He comes to the house, man. He brings his family. He was, like I said, dude was in the oil industry, very well off. I met him downtown Houston at the time I was working downtown Houston. And he just was a blessing, so he brings his family in. I'm barbecuing at the time. My barbecue skills wasn't all that. You know what I mean? So people coming to the party. I'm trying to hurry up and get the pit ready. I put some burgers on the grill, and he says, "Hey man, my daughter is hungry. Can I get a burger?" I said, "Yeah, man." So I go and I make the burger, put the burger in the bun. It looked done to me. You know what I mean? It looked done to me. So he goes and gives his daughter the burger. Like 10 minutes later, he comes back and says, "D, hey, we got to go. Christina's sick." Right? I said, "Man, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, y'all take care. Y'all do what y'all got to do." I look at the burger when he leaves. Man, tell me why the inside of the burger completely red. Like I gave the girl a burger, it was basically a raw burger. You know what I mean? So I feel horrible. Either way, long story short, man, what ends up happening is maybe about a week later after that, I get this call from Michael, and he says, "Hey, D, where you at?" I said, "Man, I'm at work. You know what I mean?" He said, "Man, when you get off work, give me a call." I said, "All right, cool." I call him after work, man, and I got my family in the car again. You know, we driving up, and I see all these gallery furniture trucks. You know, I don't know if in Houston, in Texas, you know, gallery furniture is like top of the line with Mattress Matt. So I see like 5 gallery furniture houses. I live in a cul-de-sac. You know what I mean? The cul-de-sac I live in, it's only 2 houses. You know, because you know, like I said, it's pretty big houses, so it's only 2 houses. So I'm thinking somebody moving in, you know, across the street or whatever it may be. Man, tell me why I see Michael hop out the car, and he says, "Bro, I've been trying to surprise you. This is how God works. I've been trying to surprise you ever since I left your house. Ever since I left your house," he said, "it reminded me when me and my wife, my family moved into our first home, because we didn't have no furniture. We didn't have none." He said, "and I wanted to bless you with it. The Lord put this on my chest to not pay our tithe and buy you furniture." So I'm sitting there like speechless, like jaw drop. You know, 5 trucks. I'm talking not small trucks, 5 huge. I mean, he bought everything from bed mattresses to accessories, forks, spoons, china, the kind you don't eat on. Everything in the house was the type of furniture that you don't sit on. You know what I mean? You know how you got that room where, hey, don't sit on this. Mama say don't sit on this. We keep plastic around it because you don't want to mess it up. So everything was like that. You know what I mean? I mean, we had everything. So I'm a speechless. Nobody had ever done anything like this for me in my life. So I'm just like, now, again, this is 2 weeks out. In less than 2 weeks, I done got this huge 5-bedroom house that I should not be in. So now I got furniture with insurance. He said, "Brother, here goes the furniture got insurance on it." I'm sitting there, and I'm about to cry, mostly because at this time, I didn't even have health insurance. I was like, "Bro, the furniture got insurance. I ain't even got health insurance." Like, bro. You know, he was like, "You can mess this up and they don't give you more." I said, "Oh my!" Like I'm wilding out. Like at this point, like I said, God come through. He gonna make sure you know it ain't you, it's him. So I'm sitting there with just being blessed, man. And you know what? For a little bit, everything was good. We was doing everything accordingly. You know, one thing we made God number one in our life, going to church Wednesday, Saturdays, you know, and Sundays, and you know, we were just trying to live the right way. And like I said, we had to cut some people out of our life. You know, because when you're going through this transition, you know, a lot of times you're going to lose people. You outgrow people all the time. And I started to realize that, you know, as we was growing up as a family, I was trying to do the right thing. Well, despite all the good stuff happening around us, you know what I mean, one thing I always am very adamant about, especially when you're within a marriage, you know, is you got to be on one accord. You know what I mean? And when I say one accord is, most people don't understand, like, you think that when you get married that y'all gonna all of a sudden get this whole equally yoked effect. You know what I mean? Like magically, like Cinderella, your pumpkin gonna turn into a cherry, and y'all gonna be good. And it takes time. You know, it takes major time for y'all to grow together. You know what I mean? So one thing that happened then is I started noticing there was just small things that me and my wife just did not agree on at the time. You know, so we started falling apart. The more I started falling away from her a little bit, I had this burning sensation inside of me that I couldn't explain. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I had the house, you know, we had a car, we had kids, you know, the wife and everything. There was still something missing. There was still something missing. I couldn't explain it, and I caught myself at home alone a lot. You know what I mean? And I couldn't understand why I had everything that I could think about having at the time, and yet, you know, I was unhappy. I was completely unhappy. You know what I mean? So, either way, the biggest transition in my life probably happened is, you know, up at this time, like I said, I got out of jail. I had been on probation for 7 years. So I got out and probation for 7 years. I had never not been on probation pretty much since high school. And I go, and this is the last day of me being off of probation. And it's probably the most impactful thing that ever happened to me in my life. And this is how Growing with D came into existence. I'm sitting there, and I'm at the probation office the last day. Of course, since it's the last day, they're going to make you wait for your paperwork to say you really off. So I'm sitting there, and I'm watching people go in and out the building. You know, you kind of just observing, people watching, because there ain't nothing else to do. You know, so I watch, you know, this dude get arrested, a girl failed a drug test, cop come in and arrest her. You know, I mean, probably throughout the day, I watched maybe make like 7 people get arrested within a 4-hour interval. And I'm sitting and I'm crying. You know what I mean? I'm not the most, I mean, I'm an emotional dude, but not to that point of tears. You know what I mean? And at this point, I couldn't explain it. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't explain why I was crying or why I was feeling some type of way, whatever it may be. So I did what I had known to do when trouble was around. That was pray. You know, I've been in jail. I said, hey, anything happen, I'm gonna pray. You know what I mean? So now it became habitual. I was praying. I said, look, you know, and I don't know how you talk to God or anybody else, but when I talk to God, I keep it pretty raw and unedited. You know what I mean? So it don't be dear Heavenly Father, you know, like I'm like, look, Pops, you know, I'm crying. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm feeling some type of way. You know what I mean? I don't want to cry, but I don't know why this is hurting me. Let me know something. Amen. Like, it was like pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? And I go and I kind of doze off because, again, I'm there 4 hours. And, you know, I'm not going to say that the Lord came to me, but this is, I wake up and pretty much what happens is I hear this voice and he's saying, look, it's cool that you sad. You know, everybody's sad. Everybody don't like you. But what you going to do about it? I'm like, you know, it was kind of like a challenge. Like, what you going to do about it? Like, it's cool to be sad, but what you going to do about it? So I'm like, man, dude, that's kind of rough. I ain't really expecting no answer like that, you know. So what ends up happening is I go back home and, you know, I go and I try to explain this, what's happening, what I'm telling you to my wife at the time. And one thing, again, you know, anybody who has a dream, anybody who has a calling, anybody who has a purpose, you know, do not get upset. Don't get mad at anybody, whether it's your spouse, your mom, your dad, your brother, whoever it is, when they don't understand your dream or they don't understand your purpose or your calling, because it's yours. Like, God didn't tell them. You know what I mean? They don't see a vision because it's not theirs. So if somebody don't see it, don't get mad. You know what I mean? Just you know what you got to do. So this literally starts to happen. You know, I tell her what's going on or whatever it may be, and long story short, she didn't get it. But it was okay. It was okay. You know what I mean? But what ends up happening is I stopped looking for support outside of God. You know what I mean? Not saying you ain't going to need support, not saying you ain't going to need somebody, but the thing is, God will send everybody to you. So I started the 501c3 paperwork on Growing with D. Now, but Growing with D pretty much is, because what I was going through at the time, I wanted to make sure or try to prevent it from happening to anybody else. And if it did happen, I wanted to make sure that you don't have to go through it alone. You see what I'm saying? So that was the basis of how Growing with D, like, first came into the picture. You know, shortly after that, you know, I started having problems, you know, within the marriage or whatever it may be. And, you know, I don't believe in divorce. I'll be honest with you. You know, but there was about a 3-year interval where I was a single dad. It was just me and the kids. It was me and my daughter and my son. You know, mom had went off and she was doing her own thing and, you know, whatever it may be. And I was just going through it, you know. That I always tell people this, you know, the hardest thing, the most hurtful thing I ever been through wasn't, you know, being stabbed. You know, I got stabbed one time. It wasn't me being incarcerated or me being broke. The most hurtful thing I ever been through was heartache. You know what I mean? Heartache probably was the most painful thing I've ever dealt with my entire life. You know what I mean? But considering now, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean? Like, it literally was. Anybody who's out there who's heartbroken right now, it's like you have two ways you can respond to it. You know what I mean? You can get bitter about it. You can be mad about it, which ain't gonna really do nothing for you. You know what I mean? Or you can find out why. You know what I mean? And I didn't get it at the time, but like I said, man, God will never take nothing away from you unless He got something better for you. So I go, and you know, we started going through the separation or whatever, and dude, that took me through all kind of stuff I had never experienced in my life. You know what I mean? Like I hadn't been alone since birth. Most people say, "Oh well, Derek, you wasn't born with somebody else." I was. You know, I'm a twin. I came in this world with somebody. So when you say a dude really ain't never been alone, I had never been alone my entire life. So for the first time in my life, I was alone. You there?
Oh yes. I mean, and I can identify that with you as well. So I just want to sit there. I want to sit there and say that, I mean, definitely you had some transitions just from how you started to where you're at. I'm proud to see that Growing with D is you know, it's growing and become such a big platform that, you know, starting to empower others. So,
right.
Everybody just keep a lookout for Derek Martin Growing with D. And so we definitely gonna dig in some more and just sit back and chit chat at a later date and time. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off now. I appreciate you spending time with us and giving us the first part of your story, and we know that this is not over. This is just the beginning. So we look forward to continuing this out, Growing with B, Beast Mode Mindset. I'm your host, Renee. And so tune in with us Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Let's get it. Let's go.
Amen. Let's get it. Let's go.
Beast
To another level, another level. Take it to another level, another level. Take it to another level, another level. Take it to another level. Do it, let's go. You can 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 do it, let's go. You are victorious. I am victorious. 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 Let's go, God. This is pure motivation. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me what you waiting on. God, this is pure motivation. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me why you waiting. Tell me what you waiting on. Do it, you can do it. No excuses, no more losing. Who you fooling? Keep pursuing. I can see it, I can see it. See it, no drama. I don't need it, I don't need it. This that hard work season. It's that hard work season. It's paid for a reason. It's paid for a reason. Yeah, paid for a reason. It's paid for a reason. Blood, sweat, and tears and praying. I said it. Blood, sweat, and tears and praying. I said it. Almost at the finish. I can smell it. I can smell it. Almost at the finish. I can smell it. I can smell it. Sacrifice made. You can make it. You can make it. Sacrifice made. You can make it. You can make it. Confidence is all you need. Confidence is all you need. Confidence is all you